Hey guys, today we're going to take you to one of the most dangerous and powerful places on Earth, an offshore oil platform. This is where that black gold comes from, the resource that fuels the entire global economy. Just take a moment and think about it. The fuel in your car, the gas in your home, even the plastic in your phone, it all begins right here. But have you ever wondered how oil actually travels from deep beneath the earth all the way into your hands? The entire process is incredibly complex, highly dangerous, and absolutely fascinating, so much so that it will leave you amazed. In today's video, we'll walk through everything step by step. How crude oil is extracted on an offshore platform, how it is stored, and how it is loaded onto a joint tanker ship. This entire system is a masterpiece of engineering. It involves thousands of workers, miles of pipelines, and equipment worth billions of dollars. Let's begin this incredible journey, from the seabed all the way to the storage tanks of a tanker ship. First, let's understand what an offshore platform actually is, and why it is located in the middle of the ocean instead of on land. Friends, crude oil is not found only on land. A massive portion of the world's oil reserves lies deep beneath the ocean floor, hidden under layers of seabed. To access it, engineers have built enormous structures that rise above the sea. These are known as offshore oil platforms, or oil rigs. There are three main types of offshore platforms. The first is a fixed platform, which is directly anchored into the seabed. The second is a floating platform, which stays on the water's surface but is securely anchored in place. The third is an FPSO, which stands for Floating Production Storage and Offloading Vessel. It works like a floating factory where oil is processed, stored, and transferred. These platforms are typically between 300 and 600 feet tall, taller than the Qutb Minar. On a large platform, around 200 to 500 workers live and work continuously, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Everything they need is available on site: hospitals, helipads, gyms, dining halls, because workers stay there for months at a time. They can't simply go back home. These platforms are built to be incredibly strong. Even 30-meter high waves and Category 5 storms cannot shake them. Constructing an offshore platform costs anywhere between $5 to $7 billion. Just imagine the scale of that investment. And yet, these structures perform a critical role in meeting the energy demands of the entire world. Now, let's move on to the most exciting part: drilling. This is the process of locating oil underground and bringing it to the surface. The process begins with a specialized machine called a rotary drill. Its drill bit is made from extremely hard materials like diamond or tungsten carbide, allowing it to cut through solid rock. To rotate the drill bit, there is a massive structure on top, known as a derrick. This is the tall tower you often see in images of oil rigs. During drilling, a special fluid known as drilling mud is pumped down into the well. It's not actual mud, but a carefully engineered mixture of chemicals. Its job is to cool the drill bit, reduce friction, and control underground pressure. Drilling can reach depths of 1,000 to 5,000 meters. First, the drill passes through the ocean water. Then it penetrates the seabed. After that, it travels through multiple geological layers. Finally, it reaches the oil reservoir. When the drill hits the oil reservoir, a major danger arises: a blowout. This happens when underground pressure becomes so high that oil and gas burst out uncontrollably. To prevent this, platforms are equipped with a system called a BOP, or blowout preventer. It is a massive valve system capable of sealing the well instantly during emergencies. In 2010, the Deepwater Horizon disaster occurred when this system failed, resulting in the largest oil spill in history. Drilling a single well typically takes between 60 to 100 days. On a single platform, engineers can drill 20 to 40 wells at different angles at the same time. Once the well is ready, the extraction process begins. This means bringing the oil up from underground. Interestingly, in many cases, oil rises to the surface naturally due to high underground pressure. This is known as natural flow. It's similar to opening a pressurized bottle. Fluid rushes out on its own. However, when pressure drops, engineers use submersible pumps or gas injection techniques where gas is pumped back into the well to increase pressure. The material that comes to the surface is not pure crude oil. It is a mixture of water, natural gas, sand, and chemicals. This mixture must be separated. That's where one of the most important machines on the platform comes in, the three-phase separator. It is a large horizontal vessel that uses gravity and pressure to divide the mixture into three layers: water at the bottom, crude oil in the middle, gas at the top. The gas is either burned off, a process known as gas flaring, or transported elsewhere through pipelines. The water is treated and then either released back into the sea or re-injected underground. The crude oil then moves forward for further processing. It is filtered, tested, temperature controlled, and finally sent to storage tanks. A medium-sized platform can produce anywhere from 500 to 200,000 barrels of crude oil per day. Now that the oil has been extracted and processed, the question is, where is it stored until a tanker arrives? This is where the FPSO comes into play. FPSO stands for Floating Production, Storage, and Offloading. It is a massive ship-like structure anchored near the platform, functioning as a floating storage facility. It is typically 250 to 330 meters long, about the size of 3 football fields, and can store between 1 and 2.5 million barrels of crude oil. Inside, the storage tanks are temperature controlled because crude oil thickens in cold conditions, making it difficult to pump. Each tank is equipped with sensors that monitor temperature, pressure, and oil levels 24/7. All of this data is continuously sent to the control room. Another critical system is custody transfer metering, which precisely measures how much oil is stored. Even a small discrepancy of 1 barrel can result in losses worth millions. Now the oil is ready, and the FPSO is filling up. The moment everyone has been waiting for has arrived. In the distance, a massive dark shape appears on the sea. It's slowly approaching the platform. This is not a small vessel. This is a VLCC, a very large crude carrier. It is approximately 330 meters long and 60 meters wide, essentially the size of an entire small neighborhood. There is constant radio communication between the tanker captain and the platform's control room. Speed, direction, wind, and ocean currents are all carefully calculated because even the smallest mistake could result in a catastrophic explosion. Specialized marine pilots guide the tanker into position. This is a highly specialized job that they dedicate their entire careers to. Then the mooring process begins. The tanker is secured to the FPSO using massive steel ropes. Each rope weighs around 100 kilograms per meter, ensuring the vessel remains completely stable. Finally, a large flexible pipe, called a cargo hose, is connected between the tanker and the FPSO. This serves as the main channel through which oil is transferred. The entire docking process takes approximately 4 to 6 hours because in the open sea, there is no room for error. Now comes the most dramatic moment, the loading of crude oil. When the black gold begins to flow from the FPSO's storage tanks into the tanker. A signal is sent from the control room, and powerful pumps are activated. These pumps, with a capacity of around 5,000 horsepower, can transfer enormous volumes of oil, up to hundreds of thousands of barrels per hour. In total, around 8 million liters of oil can be transferred during operations. The complete loading process takes between 24 to 48 hours. Safety is critical at this stage. There must be no sparks, no flames. A dedicated oil transfer team remains alert every second. Once all tanks are filled Every drop of oil is accounted for, and official documents are signed, finalizing a transaction worth billions of dollars. The mooring lines are then released, and the tanker slowly moves away toward the horizon. That tanker is now heading to a refinery where crude oil will be transformed into petrol, diesel, plastics, and even medicines. Thank you for joining me on Metric Soar. I'll see you again in the next video.